Blood spattered across the silver-gray sands, pooling beneath the massive, motionless body. Sam Torres, a seasoned medic stationed at the frontier outpost on Darsa 4, knelt beside the figure. Her breath hitched as she took in the alien's size and injuries. Towering even while collapsed, the warrior's frame was carved like marble, all sinew and grace. Pale iridescent skin shimmered faintly under the twin suns, a stark contrast to the gaping wound that tore across her side. "Stay with me," Sam muttered, though she doubted the alien could understand. She fumbled with her medkit, her hands slick with sweat and blood. The alien stirred, her golden eyes fluttering open, piercing and intense despite her evident pain. Her voice, low and resonant, rumbled in a language Sam couldn't comprehend. "I'm trying to help you," Sam said, gesturing at her wound. The alien winced, her lips curling into what might have been a snarl or a smile. Sam's mind raced. She'd never seen a Zalathai this close before. The warrior caste of the alien alliance was rumored to be invincible in battle, their loyalty to their own kind unwavering. Yet here one was broken and vulnerable, relying on a human, an outsider. The wound was bad, too deep for field treatment, but leaving her here was a death sentence. Sam activated her translator, the static-filled device crackling as she spoke. "You will die if I don't take you back to my outpost." The alien's gaze sharpened, her hand, a massive, clawed thing, gripping Sam's arm. Her strength, even in this state, was staggering. Through the translator came her reply, distorted but clear. "To owe a life is to bind it. Do you understand?" Sam blinked, unsure what she meant. "I'm just trying to save you." The alien released her grip and, with visible effort, nodded. Sam took that as consent, wrapping a stabilizer band around the wound before struggling to lift her. The weight was almost too much, but the urgency of the situation gave Sam strength. Back at the outpost, Sam worked methodically. She sterilized the alien's wounds, stitched torn flesh, and administered a pain suppressant. The alien, who introduced herself haltingly as Karelth, watched her with a guarded intensity. "You're lucky I found you," Sam said, trying to break the silence. "What were you even doing out there?" Karelth's translator glitched before delivering her response. "Battle, ambush, betrayal." Sam frowned. She'd heard whispers of unrest among the Zalathai clans, but this sounded personal. Betrayal? By your own people? Karelth's jaw tightened. She didn't answer. Instead, she gestured to the medical instruments surrounding them. "You fight death with tools." "Strange. Effective." Sam smirked. "We humans aren't built like you. We rely on what we can make." The alien tilted her head, her golden eyes narrowing. "And yet, you risk your life for one not of your kind. Foolish or brave?" "Maybe a bit of both," Sam said, shrugging. But as Karelth's words sank in, she felt a pang of doubt. She hadn't thought about the repercussions. If the Zalathai discovered she'd helped one of their warriors, it could spark tensions between their peoples. Yet leaving Karelth to die hadn't felt like an option. As the hours passed, Karelth grew more lucid. Despite her size and fearsome reputation, there was a quiet dignity about her that intrigued Sam. She moved with deliberate precision, even in pain, and spoke with a formality that hinted at a strict upbringing. While Karelth rested, Sam cleaned up and tried to distract herself from the gnawing unease that had settled in her chest. She thought of Jenna, her partner back on Earth. It had been months since their last real conversation. The distance, both physical and emotional, had grown unbearable. Sam remembered the last fight before she left for Darsa 4, Jenna's voice cold and clipped. "You're running away again, Sam. When will you stop choosing work over us?" She'd told herself it was just temporary, that this assignment would give them the space they needed. But now, staring at the alien warrior she'd risked everything to save. Sam wasn't so sure. "Who is it you think of?" Carelta's voice startled her. Sam turned to find the alien watching her, head tilted. "No one," she lied. Carelta studied her for a moment before speaking again. "Your heart is heavy. I hear it in your silence." Sam laughed nervously. "You're perceptive for someone who nearly died a few hours ago." Carelta didn't smile. "My kind are bound by instinct to those who save us. I hear your heart because it now beats close to mine." Sam blinked. "What does that mean?" "To save a Sci-Fi warrior is to claim them," Carelta said, her tone matter-of-fact. "In our culture, it is a bond deeper than life. Some might call it marriage." Sam froze. "Marriage? No, no, no. That's not... Look, I was just doing my job. I didn't mean..." Carelta interrupted, her voice steady. "Intentions are irrelevant. The bond is formed." Sam opened her mouth to argue but stopped herself. Carelta wasn't threatening her. She was simply stating a fact. Yet the weight of those words settled heavily on Sam's shoulders. "Listen," Sam said carefully. "I appreciate the sentiment, but humans don't work like that. I have a partner back home, someone I'm committed to." Carelta's expression didn't change. "And yet, you feel untethered. Lost." Sam couldn't deny it. But this, whatever this was, felt like a complication she couldn't afford. Later that night, as Carelta slept, Sam sat by the outpost window, staring out at the endless expanse of stars. The alien's words echoed in her mind. Untethered. Lost. She thought of Jenna, of the life they'd built together, and of the growing void between them. And then she thought of Carelta. The way she looked at Sam, not with judgment but with a quiet understanding that felt disarmingly intimate. Sam shook her head, trying to clear her thoughts. This wasn't about her feelings. She'd saved Carelta because it was the right thing to do. Nothing more. But as the night stretched on, Sam couldn't shake the sense that her life had shifted in some irrevocable way. Carelta's voice cut through the quiet. "Sam." Sam turned to see the alien watching her, golden eyes glowing softly in the dim light. "You saved me," Carelta said. "Now I will save you." Sam frowned. "Save me from what?" Carelta's gaze didn't waver. "From yourself." Sam's heart skipped, a mixture of fear and intrigue tightening in her chest. For the first time, she wasn't sure whether she wanted to resist or let herself fall. The outpost was quiet, save for the soft hum of the ventilation system and the occasional crackle of distant lightning storms outside. Sam Torres sat at the edge of her makeshift cot, staring at the alien warrior across the room. Carelta had insisted on sitting upright, her massive frame barely fitting on the reinforced medical bench. Despite her injuries, she exuded an air of composed strength, her glowing golden eyes studying Sam as if trying to unravel a mystery. "You should be resting," Sam said, breaking the silence. Carelta tilted her head, the movement almost feline. "Rest is for those without purpose. My purpose is here." Sam sighed, rubbing the back of her neck. "Look, I get that you're grateful, but this life bond thing, it doesn't work for me. Humans don't just marry someone because we save them." Carelta's gaze didn't waver. "It is not gratitude. It is honor. In my culture, saving a life is the most sacred act. You have claimed my existence as your own, whether you wish to or not." Sam leaned back, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. "I didn't ask for that." "No," Carelta said, her voice soft but firm. "But you accepted it when you chose to save me." The words hung in the air, heavy and unrelenting. Sam had no response. Deep down, she couldn't deny that Carelta's unwavering loyalty, though strange, was also comforting. Days passed, and Carelta's recovery was swift. Too swift for Sam's liking. The alien's resilience bordered on the miraculous. What should have taken weeks of healing seemed to happen overnight. Sam observed her from across the room, fascinated despite herself. "Your physiology is incredible," Sam said one morning as she checked Carelta's vitals. Carelta's lips quirked into what might have been a smile. "And yet, it was your hands that mended me." Sam chuckled nervously. "Well, I had some help from human medicine." Carelta reached out, her clawed fingers brushing against Sam's wrist. The touch was light, but sent a jolt through Sam's body. "Your hands are steady, kind. They speak truths your words do not." Sam pulled back, her heart pounding. What's that supposed to mean? Carelta didn't answer directly. Instead, she gestured to the bandages wrapped around her side. "You carry burdens you do not share." "Why?" Sam froze, the question catching her off guard. She hadn't meant to let Carelta see her so clearly, but the alien's perceptiveness was almost unnerving. "It's complicated," Sam muttered. "Complications do not erase pain," Carelta said simply. That evening, as a storm raged outside, Sam found herself opening up. Sitting across from Carelta in the dim light of the outpost, she spoke of Earth, of Jenna, of the fights and the silences that had become their relationship's defining features. "She said I always choose work over her," Sam admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "Maybe she's right. Maybe I'm just not enough." Carelta listened in silence, her golden eyes glowing softly in the darkness. When Sam finished, Carelta spoke, her tone uncharacteristically gentle. "You are enough," she said, "but you give pieces of yourself to things that cannot hold them. You fear being whole." Sam blinked, unsure whether to feel comforted or exposed. "What makes you think you know me so well?" Carelta leaned forward, her gaze unwavering. "Because I see what you refuse to see. I feel it in the space between us." The air between them grew heavy, charged with an unspoken tension that neither seemed willing to break. The next morning, Sam woke to find Carelta already up, her movements deliberate and fluid despite her injuries. She was adjusting one of the outpost solar panels, her enormous frame a striking silhouette against the rising suns. "You're not supposed to be doing that," Sam called out. Carelta glanced back, a faint smirk on her lips. "Your technology is fragile. I am ensuring its survival." Sam approached, crossing her arms. "And here I thought warriors weren't supposed to concern themselves with maintenance work." Carelta straightened, towering over Sam. "A warrior protects what is important, whether in battle or in quiet." Sam's breath caught. The words felt like a challenge and a promise. "I don't need protecting," she said, her voice faltering slightly. Carelta stepped closer, the heat of her presence almost tangible. "You saved me, Sam Torres." "But who saves you?" Sam opened her mouth to respond, but the words wouldn't come. She turned away, retreating back into the outpost. As the day wore on, an unexpected message pinged through the outpost communication system. Sam's stomach tightened when she saw Jenna's name on the screen. The message was brief. "Haven't heard from you in a while. Hope you're okay. Let's talk soon." Sam stared at the screen, guilt gnawing at her insides. She knew she should respond, but the thought of facing Jenna's disappointment felt unbearable. "You hesitate," Carelta said from behind her. Sam jumped, startled. "Don't sneak up on me like that." Carelta ignored the comment, her gaze fixed on the screen. "This person, they weigh on you." "She's my partner," Sam said defensively. "It's complicated." Carelta's expression softened. "You speak of complication as if it justifies distance. Do you not owe her truth?" Sam looked away. "It's not that simple." Carelta stepped closer, her voice low but firm. "You are brave enough to face death. Be brave enough to face life. The words hit harder than Sam expected. She turned off the screen and stood, the weight of her emotions threatening to crush her. "I need some air," she said, brushing past Kar-Elf. Outside, the storm had passed, leaving the air crisp and cool. Sam stared out at the horizon, the twin suns casting long shadows across the barren landscape. Kar-Elf joined her after a moment, her presence quiet but unyielding. "You think I don't see your conflict," Kar-Elf said. "But I do." Sam sighed. "What do you want from me, Kar-Elf?" Kar-Elf turned to face her, her golden eyes locking onto Sam's. "Not want. Need. We are bound, Sam Torres. You may deny it, but it does not change what is." Sam felt her pulse quicken, her defenses crumbling under the weight of Kar-Elf's words. "This can't happen," she said, her voice barely audible. Kar-Elf stepped closer, her hand brushing against Sam's. "It already has." The touch was electric, a spark that sent a shiver down Sam's spine. She pulled away, her heart racing. "I can't," she whispered, more to herself than to Kar-Elf. Kar-Elf's expression didn't falter. "Then you must decide what you can." Later that night, as Sam lay awake in the darkness, she felt a presence beside her. Kar-Elf's voice was soft, almost a whisper. "Sam?" "What?" Sam replied, her voice heavy with exhaustion. "You saved me," Kar-Elf said, "but I will not let you save me alone." Sam closed her eyes, the weight of those words settling deep into her chest. She didn't know what scared her more, the thought of losing Kar-Elf, or the thought of what she might find if she let herself fall. Section 3. The choice between two worlds. The air in the outpost was still, heavy with tension as Sam paced back and forth, the weight of her tangled emotions pressing down on her. Across the room, Kar-Elf watched her in silence, the golden glow of her eyes steady and unyielding. Sam could feel the alien's gaze, penetrating and inescapable, as if Kar-Elf were peeling back the layers of her soul. "I don't know how to do this," Sam admitted, her voice raw. Kar-Elf tilted her head, the movement deliberate. "Do what?" Sam stopped pacing and turned to face her. "All of it, Jenna. You. This bond you keep talking about. I didn't ask for any of this." Kar-Elf rose to her full height, towering over Sam but moving with a surprising gentleness. "We rarely ask for the paths that find us, but we choose how we walk them." Sam shook her head, frustration boiling over. "That's easy for you to say. You've got your honor, your culture, your rules. Humans aren't like that. Relationships are messy, complicated. And this," she gestured between them, "this isn't supposed to happen." Kar-Elf stepped closer, her voice low but firm. "It has happened. Denying it does not make it less real." Sam opened her mouth to argue, but found she had no words. Kar-Elf's presence was overwhelming, not just physically but emotionally. It was as though the alien warrior had rooted herself into Sam's very existence, challenging her to confront feelings she wasn't ready to face. That night, as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, Sam sat alone by the outpost's small window, staring out at the alien landscape. In the distance, lightning illuminated the jagged cliffs, casting fleeting shadows across the barren expanse. Her communicator sat on the table beside her, Jenna's message still unanswered. Sam picked it up, her thumb hovering over the screen. She wanted to respond, to say something that would bridge the growing chasm between them. But what could she say? That she'd saved an alien warrior who now claimed they were bonded for life? That she didn't know who she was anymore, let alone what she wanted? The door hissed open, and Sam didn't need to look to know it was Kar-Elf. The alien's footsteps were almost silent, yet her presence filled the room. "You sit with ghosts," Kar-Elf said, her voice soft. Sam sighed, setting the communicator down. "They're not ghosts, just memories." Karelf moved to stand beside her, gazing out at the storm. Memories are not chains, unless you let them be. Sam glanced at her, the alien's profile sharp and regal against the dim light. What do you want from me, Karelf? Honestly, Karelf turned to face her, golden eyes glowing faintly. Not want, need. You saved my life. My honor binds me to you. But more than that, she hesitated, her voice softening. I see your strength, your kindness. I see the parts of you that you try to hide. And I, choose you. The words hit Sam like a physical blow. She looked away, her throat tightening. I already have someone. Back on Earth. Karelf nodded slowly. But does she have you? Sam's breath caught. The question cut deeper than she wanted to admit. Jenna had her heart once, but now, Sam wasn't sure where she belonged anymore. The next morning, Sam woke to the sound of Karelf moving around the outpost. The alien was preparing supplies, her movements precise and purposeful. What are you doing? Sam asked, sitting up. Karelf didn't look at her. I must leave. Sam froze. What? Why? Karelf turned, her expression unreadable. Your heart is divided. I will not add to your conflict. Sam stood, her pulse racing. You're just leaving? Karelf nodded. You have a life to return to. I will not disrupt it further. Anger flared in Sam's chest. You can't just make that decision for me. Karelf stepped closer, her towering presence both comforting and intimidating. Then make it yourself. Choose Sam Torres. Not for me. For you. Sam stared at her, the weight of the moment threatening to crush her. She thought of Jenna, of the life she'd left behind. But she also thought of Karelf, the alien's unwavering loyalty, her quiet strength, the way she looked at Sam as if she were the center of the universe. I don't know how, Sam whispered. Karelf placed a hand on her shoulder, her touch warm and steady. You do. You are stronger than you believe. Hours later, as the suns began to set, Sam stood at the outpost entrance, watching Karelf prepare to leave. The alien had gathered her belongings, her wounds almost fully healed. You don't have to do this, Sam said, her voice trembling. Karelf turned, her expression soft but resolute. Yes, I do. To stay would be to bind you further. You deserve freedom. Sam Torres. Sam felt tears prick at her eyes. And what about you? What happens to your bond? Karelf smiled faintly. It remains, but it will not trap you. That is my choice. Sam took a shaky breath, the enormity of the moment threatening to overwhelm her. She wanted to ask Karelf to stay, to tell her that maybe, just maybe, she could be enough for both worlds. But the words wouldn't come. Instead, she stepped forward and placed a hand on Karelf's arm. Thank you for everything. Karelf nodded, her golden eyes glowing softly. Live well, Sam Torres. And remember, strength comes not from battle, but from the choices we make. With that, she turned and walked into the fading light, her massive frame silhouetted against the horizon. Sam watched her go, her heart aching in a way she couldn't quite describe. That night, as the storm rolled back in, Sam sat by the window, staring out at the endless expanse of stars. Her communicator buzzed, Jenna's name flashing on the screen. Sam picked it up, her thumb hovering over the response button. This time, she didn't hesitate. Hey, Jenna, we need to talk. Her voice was steady, her resolve firm. For the first time in a long time, Sam felt the weight of her choices and the strength to carry them.